In line at the movies with this pig, okay? And you put your hand on its right shoulder, it would be here. Okay? There's identical side that comes off of this way. See it? Okay. When we take the body of the vertebrae and we slice it like this down the middle, these bones become feather bones because they're feather thin. Okay? The vertebrae up in the rib area is called thoracic vertebrae. The vertebrae between the hip and that 14th rib are called your lumbar vertebrae. Okay, and then these are your sacral vertebrae. And if it had a neck, that would be your cervical vertebrae. So if you notice, there's an extra muscle that comes into play where the 14th rib ends. See it? This muscle is called the tenderloin. It's found on the underside of the vertebrae. It's really all it does, it cushions the abdominal organs so they do not bust up against the backbone or the lumbar vertebrae. Make sense? So far so good?
Yes.
Okay. So what we're going to do today is we're going to produce full tenderloins. So we're going to pull the tenderloin out first. You don't have to do that, okay? But we're going to do it because we want a full tenderloin. So we're producing it for how we want it. But if you just wanted to cut a center cut pork loin standard, we would find the tip of the hip and we would cut to remove the sirloin. But when we do that, what do we do to the tenderloin? Cut it. But if we were going to make center cut pork chops, we would have these nice chops with the tenderloin in them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Make sense? The other cut to make a center cut pork loin is to remove this piece of meat that has shoulder blade in it, and this would be your blade roast. Blade roast removed, sirloin removed, and between my hands is called the center cut pork loin. The center cut pork loin has two major parts. The one roast that has ribs in it is called a rib roast, or a center cut rib roast, because it's more valued when you put that word in there, right? Because this is also could be part of a rib roast. And then this piece of roast is called the center cut loin roast. Make sense? When we buy pork chops in the grocery store, they're going to take a whole pork loin, run it right through a bandsaw. Boom, 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 boom. No waste. So they pay $1.89 for this. When they make the pork chops are $1.89 because they haven't wasted anything. Make sense? But once I start removing these pieces here, then make our pork chops, these become more valuable because these are your center cut pork chops. So the value of those go up because these are going to be your cheaper chops. Make sense? So far so good?
Yes.
So our first cut, like I said, is to remove the tenderloin. And we're going to start right here where the lumbar vertebrae and the sacral vertebrae come together. And I'm taking my thumb and I'm just going to follow the bone. You see it? Y'all see it?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm exaggerating now. I'm just showing you that really you could do this with your thumb, okay? But what I'm really showing you is to separate the bone and the muscle, and you don't even need your knife if you just put pressure on this bone and you run your fingers down it. You see how I got to start? Then we're going to take our boning knife, okay? And you're going to lay your knife across the bones like this, okay? And we're going to work our way down this tenderloin, okay? So we just take our knives, okay? We're going to follow this muscle and we locate a seam, okay? And we just follow this back, okay? And we just pull up on it, okay? And we get that far. You see it? So far so good? Okay. Now, this piece, for some reason, fights everybody. At this point, the tenderloin starts to taper back down, and the hand or leg would be right here, so that this piece of tenderloin actually butts into the ball of the femur, but it tapers down. What most people do for some reason is when they cut this, they remove a lot of sirloin with that tenderloin. So you got to be real careful here. Is we're going to take our knives, get up on top of this muscle. We're just going to find that tenderloin again, okay? And we're going to work down it, get on top of that bone. Thought that was me. the damn pig. Okay, and we're gonna follow this bone. Okay, and we're gonna roll it back this way. Okay, and as you do that, you should start to see the seams pop up. You see the seam? See the seam right here? Okay. See the seam? See the seam? Okay. And so we're just gonna follow this